Gamers, we all know that Season 12 is upon us, but first, do us a favor, hit the socials below, follow us everywhere we are. I want to talk to you today. Vigor Season 12 is upon us. Dev stream is coming up in less than 48 hours, and we all know that this year is really going to be focused on the new player experience. So with that in mind, I wanted to go over a couple items I thought I would like to discuss, and hopefully you do too. First thing, if we're talking about the new player experience, the hardest part about being a new player is your weapons aren't great. And this game is it's very rewarding once you've reached a certain level. Unfortunately, not every player, as we all know, is not going to reach that level. They'll just walk away before, because we live in a day and time with instant gratification basically at everybody's fingertips. But a couple upgrades we could use that I think wouldn't take a lot of adjusting on the developer side, but could make for easier playthrough for newer players would be, the carbine. Just adding a burst mode, so you'd have single burst and full auto. That weapon is really powerful, but it's hard to control on full auto, especially if you're new to the game and new to the weapon mechanics. Adding a scope onto the Mosin. Mosin's a really strong rifle, but not everybody is playing with iron sights and want to use iron sights. There's players that, when I first came over to this game, I didn't really like any of the snipers. I really don't like any of the snipers still. But if you took a Mosin, which is a powerful rifle with the stun ability, gave it the worst scope in the game, the periscope, and that would give an entry level sniper that has some power to new players, that could make them want to grind and figure out how to use that gun to its fullest potential. And a lot of players might not stick to it if they don't have something like that to entice them to stay. Another thing, the MP5. It should just be a common weapon. I mean, it's as highly accurate, and there are some players I've seen even posting on Reddit that are new to the game and highly accurate shooters, but they just don't have great guns to use. So bumping that MP5 down to a common level rifle, or a common level SMG, I should say, would give the players that are accurate shooters a weapon that can do real damage. There's no reason that they should be running around with grease guns. And a lot of the experienced players that have the level 13 crafting table unlocked are not going to waste their time on an MP5. It's just not worth it when there's so many better options. And then lastly, on new player experience, I remember the first weekend I downloaded this game and played. The whole reason I got hooked was it was a double XP weekend. I didn't even know it was a double XP weekend. Obviously you see it at the end screen, but you don't really know what you're looking at when you're, your first 10, 20 encounters. So after that weekend, then I realized, that was just that weekend, and I'm not jumping up 2 levels on the battle pass each round. I think adding double XP just for new players for their first 30 encounters will get them involved in that grind and get them the endorphins when they complete a round and successfully extract, that would help them remain committed. Because I know from encounter 20 to round 55, I was at the point basically I'm like, I'm just going to uninstall this game. It sucks. And really it doesn't. I'm glad I didn't, because I pushed through and got to a point where I finally got comfortable and was getting kills regularly and enjoying the game and extracting. My survival rate's 62% still. And that's with me pushing myself to go out and get multiple kills in each round or die trying, basically. So I think those little adjustments would help new players a lot. And then for the experienced players too, some new weapons we could use. Can you imagine having deadly claymores, the tripwire bombs, where you just throw 2 in and, battery drag. You running through, everybody runs through that same entrance to try to get to the Bard house, when the Bard house is inside there, and you're able to trick them and get them with, 2 kills. It just makes people think more tactically. I think that would be a huge help. For the more experienced players, a higher powered sniper rifle that has very little sway. When you look in the sights now and it's just, you're just doing this until you hold your breath. We need something that's more along the lines I hate to say it, but like Call of Duty with the, with the Swiss or the Kar 98 from Modern Warfare, where they have extremely light sway. And, I'm not saying we should necessarily invoke quick scoping into the game. Definitely not a proponent of that, but it would be nice to have a sniper rifle that you can use while standing up and not be bouncing all over the place. And then finally, a nice like an L85, but along that line, but it's silenced, where you have a deadly AR that you can use. A lot of people use the VSS as that kind of, which part of the nerf with that is, it's only got 11 bullets, including the one in the chamber, so that kind of plays that role. But I think one is really just dedicated to an AR or an actual AR rifle with a scope silencer on it would really help. Just create some more, add some new diversity into the meta. And then finally, items that we all have been asking for, would love to have, shelter upgrades for experienced players. So, we really should be able to customize the color of our couch and the color of our walls, and if we have a bearskin rug or not, stuff that you would want to grind for that doesn't necessarily throw off the meta inside the actual Outlands itself. What if you did something even got a little crazy, like, let's say my Outlander's name, I call him Bjorn. He gets, he finds a nice wife, and they have a couple kids, and as long as he, grinds and builds up like toys for the kids, and all of a sudden you get an increase of production in your food supply because the family's happier. Just things that would give you something additional to grind for that didn't necessarily cause too much confusion or too many, items in the Outlands that you have to be cognizant of about throwing off the way the game plays. Another thing would be some new game modes. And believe me when I say this is all coming from a place of admiration, because I absolutely love this game, and even if it doesn't change one single bit, I'd be okay with it. But a lot of experienced content creators are playing zero to hero runs. Why don't we just have a zero to hero mode? Everybody jumps in with nothing, and guns are laid out through the entire map, and you could even be creative with it to say, kind of like elimination, where everybody gets the same loadout. Well, that same principle, you just drop in, to Kirsten, and there's only crossbows and Johns around, the John knife, or there's only bugles, or whatever. You could just make it one gun, so everybody's on the same playing field with the zero to hero. Or you can just keep it as is, and just nobody's allowed to take anything in. It's just something to change it up. It could even be a limited time mode. It doesn't have to be something permanent. Just give something unique for the community to enjoy, a new way to enjoy the game. Another thing, and I think this would be huge, would be, let's create. This would take a lot of time, of course, on the developer's part, but creating one big map that's, 42 players. And the only reason I say that is, a lot of players don't give this game it's an opportunity to be impressed by it, because everybody's chasing that number. Battlefield has 64, 128 players on it. Call of Duty's got 150. Everybody wants to hear that big number. And, when you say, well, hey, you got to check this game out. Oh, how many players are on the map? Well, it's 8 players or 12 players per round. And everybody's like, why would I play that? Until they get into it and play it and understand the concept of the game, then they'll fall in love with it. But the problem is you have that initial hurdle where it's only 12 players. Nobody wants to play. Nobody, they don't want to jump in because they're attracted. They've been trained to be attracted to that big number. So one way around that is, you create I know we had a quick play option in the past a long time ago. Let's say you just, you click quick play. And if you can't get a match to 8 players or 12 players, but you have people across the world that are ready to play, just dump them all into one huge map. Make it so Lone Wolf is always on. So, it could be singles, doubles, and triples all on one map. And it's a huge map, same size as, as per capita or per ratio is like Broadland Bridges would be, where, it's a huge map with 12 players, you still run into it, but you extrapolate that out for 42 players. So still people can sneak around if they want to, or people can just go on a killing spree if they want to. I think that number would really catch attention of people, that haven't given this game a chance, but really should. And, would really kind of open up this game that we love so much to a broader audience per se. With that, I just wanted to keep it short. We have a dev stream coming up soon, less than 48 hours. So I'm excited to see what happens in Season 12. I haven't seen anything, heard any rumors or anything on Reddit or Twitter or anything. So they've done a good job of keeping it silent. But till next time, gamers, take care, and I'll see you later.